Let's talk a little bit about what is going on with Donald Trump and Russia and Vladimir Putin. Of course, we've been following this very, very closely, and it turns out that the Donald Trump Russia Putin connection may be even bigger than we thought. Now, previously, we knew that Putin had called Trump bright and very talented. Trump had spoken with some admiration on multiple occasions about Vladimir Putin's political strength. Yesterday, I told you that numerous internet security experts have said that the DNC WikiLeaks release and the hacks had many indications of coming from Russian intelligence agencies. And this has continued to grow over the last 12 to 24 hours. Now, this brings up the question of whether Russia and Vladimir Putin would do something like this merely to embarrass the U.S. or because they actually believe they would benefit from Donald Trump being president or from Hillary Clinton not being president. We are now learning and hearing way, way more about possible Trump-Russia connections. And the important thing when we talk about this is that whether or not this line of reasoning helps Hillary Clinton's campaign, we want to focus on whether it's true regardless. I understand that the Hillary campaign is very keen on repeating these talking points about a connection between Trump and Russia. And that is being used as a way to discredit those. Let's just focus on what we know aside from whether it benefits Hillary Clinton or not. In other words, even if there is motive to say these are just Clinton campaign talking points to make Trump look bad, this could make Trump look bad and still be true. We're still getting more information on this. According to the Daily Beast, quote, it's an operation that several U.S. officials now suspect was a deliberate attempt to influence the presidential election in favor of Donald Trump. And first of all, conservative columnist George Will, who admittedly does not like Donald Trump, thinks that the reason Trump won't release his tax returns is because they would reveal links between Trump and Russia. Here is conservative George Will on conservative Fox News saying this.
On the connection between Russia and the Trump campaign, but they've thrown it out there, George.
Well, it's the sort of thing we might learn if we saw the candidate's tax returns. And that's perhaps one more reason why we're not seeing his tax returns, because he is deeply involved in dealing with Russian oligarchs and others. Whether
yeah,
it's good, bad, or indifferent, it's probably a reasonable surmise.
So maybe George Will's not reliable. He clearly doesn't like Trump. What is he saying? But in addition to this, there is growing evidence now that Russian troll factories posing as pro-Trump Americans have been posting all over the internet to try to shape public opinion. This is a really big topic. I've talked about it before. There are these Russian troll factories where people, it's professional trolling, they get together and typically they post pro-Kremlin stuff all over the internet, anywhere you can. YouTube comments, blog comments, news site comments, Twitter, Reddit, all of these different platforms. And freelance journalist Adrian Chen, who's now a staff writer at The New Yorker, discovered that at one point the Kremlin was likely paying some of these troll factories to spread pro-Trump propaganda on social media. This is what Chen had to say. I created this list of Russian trolls when I was researching, and I check on it once in a while still, and a lot of them have turned into conservative accounts, like fake conservatives. I don't know what's going on, but they're all tweeting about Donald Trump and stuff. There are two possible motives here. Number one, Russia genuinely wants to get Donald Trump elected because they, quote, like him, to put it simply. Option two is Russia wants to get Trump elected because they think, like some in China believe, as I told you yesterday, that Trump would be such an embarrassment that it would help Russia compete globally and it would increase public opinion of them. This is a speculative case, but it is not negated by the Republican National Committee's recent change on their stance on Russia under pressure from Trump's staff in the days leading up to the convention in Cleveland last week. One delegate actually proposed an amendment calling for the U.S. to provide eastern Ukraine with lethal defensive weapons. And according to the Washington Post, Trump's allies pushed to weaken that statement, instead saying they would provide appropriate assistance instead of lethal defensive weapons. Lewis, it is a circumstantial case right now, but it is one that is increasingly connected to empirical facts.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the financial connections. I mean, when you're a billionaire, yes, you, especially a billionaire like Trump, who has hosted events in Russia and is a schmoozer, if you will, not difficult to be financially involved in your statements, wherever, on video and pictures with Russian oligarchs.
Right.
And that's not the biggest deal to me. Russia, of course, wants to make things more difficult for the United States, and they want to make things better for themselves. Would a Trump presidency do that? Probably. And the troll stuff, this sounds like China to me, and not surprising at all. I mean, it seems like a pretty cheap and effective way to kind of give
sway
Trump a
public
boost.
opinion. Yeah.
Definitely. But I also think that who is the candidate? Okay, if Putin's trying to kind of put forth his message of destabilizing the West, would that come in the form of Hillary Clinton, or would that come in the form of a Donald Trump puppet?
Yeah, that's the thing. You might say we want Trump over Hillary because their policies will actually be more beneficial to Russia. Or you might say, oh, Hillary's way more competent. So just Trump's incompetence is what we want to seize and take advantage of. That's why the whole bromance between Putin and Trump narrative is not actually the most compelling, because Putin is probably smarter than that. Putin must recognize that he's not popular in the US and that any actual alliance between Trump and Putin is not particularly likely, although Trump has said he would talk to everybody. You would think Putin is thinking on a deeper level, which is actually Trump will be more manipulatable or just incompetent in a way that allows Russia to improve its standing globally or whatever. We're going to have some fact checking tomorrow about what Trump has said regarding his relationship or lack thereof with Vladimir Putin and what the evidence actually shows. That's tomorrow. We'll take a break for now. I've talked about how people of all ages, but particularly millennials, are owning cars less and participating more in the sharing economy. And one of the more popular options is Zipcar, which gets you a car when you want it, when you need it. They offer all sorts of cars, SUVs, hybrids, whatever you need. It includes insurance and it includes gas. You just pay for the time that you actually use the car. And you can reserve the car online from your smartphone over the phone. Then you unlock it with your Zip card. Each car share member reduces their personal CO2 emissions by between 1,100 and 1,600 pounds per year. For our audience, Zipcar is offering $25 of free driving credit if you sign up at joinzipcar.com/David. Support our show, reduce your carbon emissions and your spending on cars. Sign up at joinzipcar.com/David.